Hi, friends. Welcome back to Live at the Roxy. Very special show today, guys, because I've been trying to get him on the show for a minute now. You've seen us together at Screen Junkies, and you know him from Nerd Goat, his podcast, and Reboot It. It's Ed Greer. It's like how I always used to say it. Ed Greer.
Yeah, you did.
I
You
know.
pioneered a certain amount of enthusiasm saying my name. It's
Listen,
very
I miss, how strange is this going to sound? I miss saying your name.
Aw. Well, I do.
That,
I miss having to get up early for me and go to bed, go to work, sit next to
yes.
you guys, you, Emma Fife, just seeing,
What's
all
early for you?
uh whatever Screen Junkies was. That was early.
What were
10.
weren't we at 11?
I think we're at like 11, yeah. That
Damn.
was early for me because, like,
Okay,
look,
but
I
that's a
stay up all
comic
night.
life.
Yes,
Yeah. You
yes.
guys are always night owls. What's your typical bedtime?
Uh, when the sun comes up, I start thinking about going to sleep a lot
No
of the time.
way. So like
Like
legit like 6 a.m. kind of thing.
it's kind of purple out most of the time when I go when I go to sleep.
So right now for this 1 p.m. stream, were you like, fuck, that's early?
No, I prep myself. I got some coffee sitting off camera. No, I'm just joking. I was up. My girl made sure I got up.
Damn. I'm a night owl for sure. And I was up last night until probably about 3:30 or 4:30 because I can't sleep at night. I also like I'm trying to wean myself. I take when I can't sleep at all, I take Xanax, and I'm trying to like not do that as often because I don't even think I need to say why because like don't do that as all you know what I mean, like because I don't want to. But last night I was trying not to take one. I was trying to go to sleep, so I started smoking too much, and then I torched my throat because I was
Mm.
just like trying so hard to fall asleep and I couldn't get there. And I was like, I should have just taken the Xanax 4 hours ago and gotten sleep. This is less healthy than just like not sleeping at all. So
Well, everybody's sleep
feel that.
schedules are super messed up now,
Yeah.
unless your schedule can't be messed up, at which point, how are you getting sleep knowing that you got to wake up in the morning, you have to go be like a essential worker or whatever the hell, you know?
Yeah, I'm having a really, really hard time with any of the things that I book that I have to do, like telling myself this is something you have to. I don't know. Usually in life, if I have to do something, I'm like, all right, well, I have to do it right now during everything going on. If I have to do something, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to go to this thing that they're making me do whatever. Like I need a mental shift. Everybody who comes on the show says I need to meditate, which like is making me want to punch people in the face.
I think that's the opposite of what they want you to do and take the lesson out of that.
Are you a meditator?
No, and it's for the same reason probably you aren't, because we need to.
I
Because
know.
getting your mind to get that still, there's something in your personality, and I think mine as well, that goes, no, that's a stupid waste of time. I should be able to master my own mind. I should be able to think about whatever I want to think about and be as calm as I want to be. But
Right.
that's not true, because as we know, like, when you think about something, it's like it's really manifesting there in front of you. You know what I mean?
100%. 100%. I feel things. I don't know if this is a fair statement, and you can tell me.
Mm.
I feel like I feel things deeper than other people feel them. That could be a really self-centered thing to say, but I feel like and I don't like that about myself. Like I don't like I feel things so deeply every time. Like every single thing feels like either a personal assault on me or devastation or like I'm so happy, I'm so sad. Like I feel things so extremely that I have a very hard time doing what they tell us we need to do in this industry, which is kind of do this a little bit, not
Mhm.
this. Like my whole world is always like, huh, 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 and I can't like not feel that. And so when I sit to try to meditate, I'm like, oh, this is fucking stupid. Oh, don't want to be here. I have so much shit that I have to do today. Why can't my mind just be right now? Like that's what comes out.
Well, no, I think people do that, but also you think about, like, I've gotten to this point where I can't get still because I'm really feeling my mortality more than I think I ever have before. I'm feeling how few moments I really actually have in the grand scheme of things. I've started going on screeds. I was just talking to a friend the other day, and I was like, we need to live 200 years. If we
This
were
is what
able
I
to,
said the other day. I need
yeah,
150 minimum.
yeah, if we were able to, and I totally agree with you on that. If we were able to live about 200 years, I'm not talking about the narcissistic stuff of being alive longer. I'm talking about actual change in the world happening, because you could go through a crappy like Republican phase for 50 years and come out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could have a rebellious, I hate to say it, a rebellious sort of neo-conservative period of 25 to 30 years.
And then there's
It'd
still
be like a
life after that.
exactly. It'd be like a punk phase. And maybe you would do a lot of damage or do a lot of bad stuff during that period, depending on your politics. But the bottom line is, or you could spend 70 years being a dirty hippie and then get yourself together. Whatever you think, whatever your politics are, it'd be enhanced by actual. And think about this: you could look back 100 years and think of it like, oh wow, only 100 years ago, XYZ people couldn't vote or blah blah blah, blah, and be able to metabolize, oh, that's messed up. That wasn't that long ago. But
Right.
we live, by the time we start to get a little bit smart, we're dead.
I know. I know. It's 100% true. Like I feel like for not only that, but like you want to accomplish anything in life, you want to make actual change, like you're saying, or really do something that you're proud of. How are you supposed to do that on this planet in 75 years? How are you supposed to do that? Like I'm, uh, I can't in 30 years say that I've done anything that really means anything. Like,
Well, that's why we like give the continuous slob job to people who make an impact on this world. We put up statues. I'm not talking about those statues. I'm talking about just statues. We
mhm,
put up so many things to commemorate people who've made an impact in this world. We celebrate people because everybody knows their name. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And I think that's what celebrity is about. It's like this etching of yourself into, and I think that's why so many people are obsessed with it.
Is
It's
that
an
a good thing or that's not a good thing? Or it's
uh,
neither good nor bad?
you know what? Due to the fact that so much industry in the United States is built on people trying to be famous, it's probably a good thing because it's the only thing we make. We make people who want to be famous. That's what we
Yeah.
make in America. That's our gross national product. We make people who want to be famous, and some of those people make stories that
And
travel
I'm
around
one
the
of
world.
them.
Yeah, me too. What do
Oh,
you think? I'm not throwing stones. I'm in a glass house like a son bitch.
yeah, me too. I'm living in that glass house. Well, at least we stopped paying rent then. We can start paying a mortgage on that glass house.
Which is really sad because that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to get one of those mid-century modern monstrosities with the giant open space and there's barely any furniture and it doesn't even look comfortable to live in. That's the exact sort of Hollywood douche house I'm going to get. I'm
When?
uh whenever I get enough money to do it,
Yeah,
Roxy.
I
Don't
know.
shame
That's
me.
not shaming you. I'm saying right now. So I go on a walk every day because I'm trying to do instead of meditation, whatever. I'm just trying to fucking be a whole person. I can't figure out how to do that right now. I've been in shambles. I'm just trying to figure out anything I can do to be a whole human being. So I've been going on these daily walks, which is like really not like my personality, but apparently everybody's supposed to walk an hour a day anyway. Who
Mhm.
came up with that shit? But okay. So I'm going on my daily walks and I'm zillowing all the houses I walk by because I want to know like how much is this going to be one day when I figure out a
Mhm.
way to stop paying rent and living in a garage for way too much money. And so
Mhm.
I'm going by a house and I picked the house on the street that was like the smallest, like, okay, I could live in that house in the next few years. Could I live in that house? And I look at it as $1.8 million. And it's a 2-bedroom home. 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, $1.8 million. And I was like, "Uh, how? How? How am I ever gonna how? Like, how
Well,
does
see,
somebody do that?
but see, and that's another thing. They wonder why we have a generation of people that really don't care about breaking stuff
Yeah.
because we're never gonna own anything. Not the people on the coast. There's people in New York right now who will never have a house, and they're like super cool with that. They're like, "Man, this condo only costs $4,000 a month, dude. I got a great deal."
All my friends in New York say things like that. I'm like, whoa, that is
Right.
a holy crap. But
So
you
it's
think
just
that
like,
that means that we're cool with like destroying things because they'll never be ours?
no, I think once you have, I think we're maybe the first generation that might start to realize that if things keep going the way they're going, you will never have that because there's always going to be some sort of uh all I'm saying is the reason why so many people don't have what you used to have in the 50s is I think people don't, the way that we make money is way more, we're concentrating so much on every company expanding and getting more and more profits every single year. Back in the days, you could have a stable company that employed a bunch of people and did things a certain way and have a lot of those people have a wage so they could have a house. Where is that? Like literally, where is that?
Well, I feel like the answer to that, Ed, is that it's not in LA, but my friends from home are buying houses.
Mhm.
Like totally beautiful 3-bedroom, planning on having a couple of kids in the next few years, houses that are like, you know, expensive, but like $500,000,
Mhm.
$350,000,
Yeah,
like,
I'm from Missouri. When we used to go up to this place called Ward Parkway and look at the rich people's houses,
mhm.
and now I remember like when I was a kid, those houses would be $500,000 maybe. Those are mansions with moats and stuff.
Yep.
Like, literally, they would have the prettiest Christmas lights, and a lot of times the poor kids would kind of drive through the rich people neighborhood to see their super fresh lights, and they would have like armed guards and all this kind of. It was almost like that story the other day in St. Louis. You
No
know what I
way.
mean? It was like it because of the fact that this was such a rich area, and I bet you none of those houses today. One of those houses might be $2 million, and I'm talking about palatial. The
Like
X Men
massive.
the X-Men fly out of the roof of this place every other night type house. You know what I'm
You
saying?
should
And it's
Zillow it. I've become obsessed. I downloaded the app. Why? I'm a decade away from even thinking about this, but like
yeah,
it
it's
maybe just
aspirin.
it's like something to make me feel worse about my life. Like I'm going on these walks to try to feel whole, and then really what I'm finding is like you will never be whole. That's the point, bitch. Like
Well, dude, that's the thing they don't tell you about mindfulness. They talk about all this like feel your breath and feel your life and feel the sun on your face and the wind in your eyebrows or whatever. I get all that, but you're taking it to the extreme of like I am mindful that I will never have a
yeah,
house.
I'm super mindful and aware. And I'm super aware that I'll never own that home, especially if things keep going the way they're going. I want to take some things from the chat, from the Streamlabs, from the Patreon, and there's a couple topics I want to talk about today. I know I've been telling you guys every single week, filling us in on the Jeffrey Epstein case. So this is a big day in the Jeffrey Epstein case to talk about. Also, in case there wasn't enough competition for Ed and I on the internet, thank you, Brie Larson, for making a YouTube channel and a couple other things too. Jada Pinkett Smith is bringing herself to the red table. Bum, bum, bum. So all of that and more today on Live at the Roxy. Let's start with this super chat from Katie Robinson, the good witch. She says, Congress makes me glad people don't live 200 years. But like kind of like you're saying though, well, I guess because we wouldn't be able to get them out. Like, how would we get them out if they lived that long? I mean, the Supreme Court. Imagine if people lived 200 years, we would be in big trouble.
Hey, well, that's why there should be term limits on everything all the time. There should definitely be term limits because that introduces new blood by nature. So even if people live 200 years, that's kind of what I'm saying. You could
Yeah.
spend a few years being a senator, enacting change, doing some stuff, and then go be an artist for 45 years. You know what I mean? You could
Would you
do
be a politician if you lived for 200 years? Would you try that at some point?
I think that's another thing about it. Let's say somebody was 97 years young in this new paradigm,
Mhm.
and we hadn't found any dirt on them in 97
Then, like,
years.
they're good. Like, we
Come
can
on.
definitely, yeah,
Come on. You know what I'm saying? These guys can't survive us looking back 20 years.
I know.
So I think it would still stand as a pretty good thing, but I do agree that some people, because we've seen people who have lived. I'm sorry, you don't have to live 200 years to stop being racist or whatever you are, or homophobic or whatever your problem is. You don't have to live 200 years to defeat that. I think it takes a few years of actual study, baby, and maybe one actual minute of real thought.
You gotta do a
And
lot of walking around the streets.
right,
You gotta do a lot of meditation.
but all I'm saying is there's guys like Strom Thurmond. He lived to be like 100 and was racist the whole time. And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, homie, that almost takes effort.
Well, I don't know because don't you feel like All right. I am somebody who believes in change. I
Mhm,
legitimately believe that people can change. Why do I know people can change? Because I have changed. So I know
mhm,
people can fucking change. No, I was never um I don't know any of the horrible ones,
mhm,
homophobic, anti-Semitic, racist. Like, I didn't have like a big change to overcome, but I was on drugs, and then I was off drugs, and then
mhm,
I've changed different aspects of my life, and
mhm,
whatever. I was a shittier person, now I'm a better person, and working on becoming and changing into an even better person.
mhm.
Wish me luck. So I know people can change, but I don't know how many people legitimately change the big ones. Like, do people really go from being homophobic to pro gay rights? Do
Mm.
people go from hating Jews to loving Jews, no matter how long you live? Like, is that something that if they just live long enough, they will get there? Or would most people just kind of stay whatever they were?
Well, like I said, I'd love to find out because I'd love to see what travel. Like I've seen so many times in regular lifespan. Let's take it back to reality when people expose themselves to more types of people. You know what I'm saying? And they
Yeah.
expose themselves not to. It's funny, like people will go like, "Well, in my experience, these people are bad." Well, where do you work? Oh, I work in the torture sewers. And everybody there is very unhappy, and that's how I'm gonna judge these people. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to those people when they're in an environment that doesn't all the way suck and see what type of people you meet of those type of people? And I'm talking about whatever people you're talking about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we
Totally.
expose ourselves over and over to the worst of whatever people we don't like, and then say that they're all bad. And that's a real cop out that we do in our
All the
lifespans.
time.
And it's
Totally.
it's due to a lack of actual, but again, what are people gonna do? Why am I gonna blame somebody in a flyover state that literally can't afford to leave their state for any amount of time? And when they do leave, they go to another state that's just as messed up as the state they came from. You know what I'm saying? Or they go to Hollywood for 5 seconds,
Okay,
see a
that's
bunch of bums and weirdos and go, "Look, see?
but that's
Weirdos."
nice of you to say that we can't blame them, but also, like, can we blame their parents? Because then who can you blame? Who are we blaming then for the people who are fine if they're in the flyover states or wherever they are in this country or wherever they are in the world? Who are we blaming for them being racist pieces of shit? Who are we blaming for them having hatred in their heart towards whatever group of people? Like, because somebody needs to. I think somebody needs to be blamed, right? Like, if nobody's blamed, then who's going to take responsibility or accountability?
Well, no, but I've always said that this thing about people, like you're saying, do people really change? How are people processing this information? Why are we still having these problems last generation after generation? And I think it's just because we break our ass to pat ourselves in the back when we make 1 inch of progress.
Yeah,
Break
for
our
sure.
we break our arms off. We go full Reed Richards trying to pat ourselves on the back
For
every
sure.
time.
Like, I saw this, I talked about this the other day, but I saw this tweet that was like, it's great that we're having more inclusivity in the Oscars, and now more people can vote, or it's great that companies are hiring more black people, or it's great that whatever. A list of all things is great. Can we arrest Breonna Taylor's cops? Like, because we're patting ourselves on the back for, like, good for us, the Oscars, good job, Oscars, we're bringing in all the inclusivity that we can by bringing agents into the Oscars, but whatever, we're doing it, look at us, but we're not like actually doing it, we're doing something, and then we're applauding ourselves for so long but we're not doing real, like, not that that's not real, but the things.
Mhm. Well, I
uh
mean, a lot of the people who talk very progressively go to homes that are patrolled by armed guards that will break you off if you step near their property. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, "Yeah,
100%.
I'm hella progressive. Let me go get behind this giant, and that's their right to have their privacy because they're famous and people are weird. I'm not trying to say that, but I am trying to say a lot of them don't really want to dismantle an unjust police state because they feel like there are situations where they would be that St. Louis couple on the lawn waving their weird gun they got from the set of Transformers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them think that they sound so progressive, but in their heart of hearts, you give them some sodium pentothal, they'd be like, yeah, but don't we need cops that look like Iron Man? I mean, it just seems like if we didn't have cops that look like Iron Man, or excuse me, War Machine, that we would just be overrun. I mean, am I wrong?
Am I wrong? Like, am I? Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. So, like, obviously, all I'm saying is, I've said this before, but we've told ourselves that we made the last generation of racists. And I'm talking about whatever kind of racism you want to talk about, but we know who gets to have a lot of influence with their racism.
When do you think we told ourselves that?
I think we tell ourselves it every generation.
Every generation.
In our lives, how many times have you heard MLK as some kind of Captain America shield that people put up as like, well, it's all solved. And then our generation got Obama. It just happens over and over. I'm telling you, in 2052, some guy, some M'Baku Richardson is going to be the new guy who solved it. And
M'Baku Richardson, yeah.
And everybody's going to go, that M'Baku Richardson, he really gets it. I'd vote for him a third term. And we're then 2 years later, there's going to be riots in the street over the Soylent Green that nobody.
You don't think this ever goes away?
It's like, I think, unfortunately, racism, classism, all the things that break us apart are like energy. It's like it can't be created or destroyed. It can only be moved to different stuff. So it's almost like prejudice to me is like this thing that is in us all around. So it's like some people go, I'm prejudiced against people who litter. Oh, black people, Mexicans, whatever, that's fine. But people who litter. So I think we have to find some place to put this animus for other people. I hate the Browns. I hate, people who don't leash their dogs. I hate people who watch birds. I hate people who get on the internet and talk like they're smart. Whatever, there's some animus in us that we got to put on something. And a lot of times it goes to simple routes, racism, people who don't look like you, people who worship different than you.
But is it okay if I'm more okay with people hating people who like, I don't know, the Patriots than people hating people for being born a certain skin color?
Obviously it's not the same. Obviously they're not in the same league, as Jules Winfield said. They're not even the same fucking sport.
Yeah.
But I am saying we pretend like we're all these. I remember watching I watched somebody tell me that a little girl was playing GTA one time, and because her heart was so pure, she just jumped on a scooter that she found. She didn't even push anybody off of it, and she knew how to do all the controls, but she just grabbed the scooter and rode around for an hour exploring and having fun. Didn't punch anybody, didn't punch a hooker, didn't rob anybody, didn't shoot anything, and she knew how to do it. She just didn't want to. We really like to think that we are that. But by the time we are adults, we are not that. By the time we are adults, we have real frustrations we have to get out, and real, some of us, hatreds we have to throw on people. And that's how you end up painting your face at the Raiders Stadium or whatever. Yeah. And I understand that that's not anywhere near racism, but I am saying
that people have hatred for different things, and that's never going to go away energy wise.
It's a drag and drop menu. It's a drag and drop menu full of stuff.
What do you think about this? G. Smith says, come on, Ed. What comes next has to be better than this. Maybe. Also, Superman versus KKK. That's the comic book, right? I don't think I ever.
No. Basically, we were at Screen Junkies before the world ended.
Right.
We were in the process of creating a thing called Superman versus the KKK, and it was it's a really great story of Kellogg's. Basically, they took on white supremacy. Basically, they took on the KKK in a radio program that they sponsored that happened to feature Superman. Superman was the biggest thing in the world at the time, so having Superman openly denounce white supremacy was a big deal. And obviously, again, this whole thing about things are supposed to be better. This is 2020. In 1964, they passed the Civil Rights Act, right? This is 2020, and we have riots in the streets over police treatment about race. So that just and again, you look at that documentary, The 13th, that sets up this whole thing about like basically, if you're captured because you're a criminal, they could put you in a prison and make you do low wage work, pay you pennies for an hour of work, and make you produce products. And rich people who built those prisons get money. And that's been happening since the beginning of time. They act like private prisons is a new thing. It's not. So all I'm saying is this concept that, oh, it would have to get better. Show me. We're having a conversation. If I whistle at you, I won't necessarily get harmed. Okay, that's basic. Let's talk about, us both walking into business circumstances of being equal.
Right.
Let's talk about, you know what I mean? Let's talk about
Totally.
you getting to go to a meeting and the woman across from you isn't taking notes for some rich guy. She's the person who's in charge.
Right.
And it's a common thing. So yes, things get better. Nobody's going to dispute that. I'm not over here in a loincloth talking about I got to go out and fight for food. I'm not. If things do get better,
where's our loincloth? I wouldn't mind that right about now.
But
all of us
like,
protesting in our loincloths.
Yeah, I just think it's specious to say that, like, oh, you're being cynical. Things aren't changing enough for you. No, they're not. And it's not.
What's that word mean? I've never heard it.
Like sort of false, or like you're kind
specious?
of being like, you're kind of like kind of being mealy mouthed around the issue and
like beating around the bush, kind of
obfuscating obfuscating something is true through mealy mouth use of language. And like
thank you.
False,
I like learning new words.
So all I'm saying, all that is, it just seems like obviously things are getting better. Things almost would have to. But when you really look at the median incomes of people, the amount of wealth people have, the assumption of normativity that a lot of people in this country have, the bar lives matter of it all.
Bar lives matter. What a hashtag that was.
You know what I'm saying? When you look at stuff like that, you can't honestly say that those people are so much better than people in the 70s, who 70s, not 60s, 70s, who spat on people who were getting busted different places, who did weird stuff. 70s, not 60s, 70s. Right. When kids were getting put into new schools and kids would like come around them, and like kids like black girls walk on her bike, and a bunch of kids from all the surrounding neighborhoods come around her in a big group and walk her out of the neighborhood as though she doesn't belong, even though her family just bought a house there. Stuff like that. 70s, 80s, things are like that are happening. 90s. Look at the 90s of the Bensonhurst thing, where like a couple Italian guys chased a kid into the street and he got killed by a car because he was getting chased out of a neighborhood he didn't belong in the 90s. And then go up to this, guys jogging. So like, yes, I agree that things get better, but you see with camera phones and stuff how things haven't, though.
Right. And now we're just seeing it more.
Yeah. I don't want to, again, that type of, I'm just saying, just as
I hear you completely.
As a final thought, that type of thinking is why we still have these problems, because we go, oh, things are better than they were by increments. And it's like, as Malcolm X said, you take the knife out of my back, got the knife in my back 6 inches, you take it out 3 inches and call it progress. That's the type of thinking that we do over and over again generationally, and that's why this progress is so slow.
Right. I mean, I agree with everything you just said. Mayra M said, I do think people change, but they only change when the bigger issues personally affect them or their immediate friends and family. We do see that all the time.
Yep.
Far too often. Let's get into the Streamlabs a little bit. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Mikey May in here before the stream started said, hey, a lot of people are having a tough year, so just hang in there. Things will get better. I think that's to me because everybody knows how, whatever. They say the night is darkest before the dawn. I don't really know you, but you seem like a great human being, and it shows through everything you do. Thank you for saying that. I'm trying, working on changing, being the best me. Katie Lee Robinson at the beginning of the stream said, I'm a retail manager, and one of the kids on my team who I adore and work with almost daily just tested positive for COVID. We're all required to wear masks, though, and for now, it seems like everyone else is okay. Headed into work now, Ed Greer for the win. Katie, I'm sorry somebody tested positive. I'm glad that your team told you, because we're hearing so many stories right now about management's not telling their staff that other people on staff have COVID. Did you hear that big fucking Ralph story, Ed? Like Ralph's
Mm.
18 people tested positive. They weren't telling
Oh,
any of them. They were all serving and bagging and all of that stuff and touching all the produce. And Ralph's just didn't want to tell their employees about it. Like,
oh my gosh. Well, it's sad that it doesn't surprise me, but again, I'm not trying to be super cynical, but it's one of those things where I think this is unprecedented, and I don't want to make excuses for anybody, but this is when this is how you know who would be the person who in the zombie movie pretends they didn't get bit.
yeah.
Like, this is how you know who would be that person, because they're just like, yeah, I can go handle all this produce. But again, we've set up a system. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but we set up a system where a lot of people who knew they had that stuff also knew they better
They
take
had to
their
pay
ass to
bills.
work. Yeah,
Yeah.
they knew
Period.
they better take their ass to work. I don't. There's no, and they also know. Okay, yeah. So I go to the hospital. How much is that gonna cost? The
Right.
fact that we have to think about that, and I'm not trying to, be a,
No,
it's
it's
just
100% true. We've talked about
that's
it on the
true.
show a bunch of times. Like, what do
Yeah.
you? I can't get mad at. I can get mad, but it's hard to get mad at somebody who's got to feed their family. So they show up to work because they have no choice because there's no paid leave and they're sick and they probably know they're sick, but there's no options for them to not be sick. And then if they don't show up to work, they can't afford to put a roof over their kid's house, like over their bodies. Like, what am I supposed to say? Oh, fuck you. Like, that's the system that we live in. So let's go back in here for a few more questions. Glenn Caesar said, "Hey, Roxy and Ed, wishing you a happy Thursday. Glad to see you two together again. Love you two on SJU together. Fingers crossed, by the way, that
I
happens again."
I know.
And,
It's yeah,
uh,
right?
I know. Glad to have Ed in the Rockstars band. Ed, who's your favorite artist or band, and what's your favorite song or album to listen to by that artist or band?
I got a few of them. I'm a weirdo. I have to start that out by saying that. I'm a weirdo. I like almost all music on some level.
Hmm.
Uh and I'm talking about all music. I've listened to uh I'm not one of those weird. I'm from Missouri, but I'm not some weirdo for listening to country. I see the storytelling in it. I really do. And
Okay.
I don't listen to it a
You're
lot or anything.
allowed.
I'm definitely not Hootie and the Blowfish. I don't listen to it a lot,
I
but
love
I
Hootie and the
it,
Blowfish.
it,
Don't hate
it's on my or Darius. What's this Darius somebody?
Rucker.
Yeah, I don't want to
Rucker.
disrespect him by
Obviously,
calling
it's
him
Darius
Hootie.
Rucker. I love him.
Did you remember that Key and Peele sketch where they were that's like Hootie, come out? People started calling him Hootie as though.
Mhm,
So I don't want to
mhm.
disrespect him because someday in the future maybe somebody will be calling me some weird name from something I did.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is I like almost all music. I like weird hip hop. I like Jay Dilla. He's a musician that died a few years ago, but he made a lot of hip hop beats for like basically he made hip hop hits so that he can make these weird art album soundscapes.
Have I heard
So
his stuff?
they did a thing called Donuts. It's an album of like he basically did that I think right before he died, and it's just a bunch of instrumentals that have like just such movement. They're almost like symphonic and stuff, but they're also
Hmm.
kind of laid back and chill. I like Jay Dilla. I like Outkast. I like Wu Tang a lot. My new one of my new guys is I like Freddie Gibbs. There's some problematic things some people can
I
say
don't
that
know who
he
that
has
is.
done. He's a rapper named Freddie
Freddie
Gibbs.
Gibbs?
Yeah, he's
I'm
he's
so out of the rap game recently. I don't know
yeah.
anybody anymore.
Well, he's got a lot of. I mean, he raps about a lot of the same subjects a lot of rappers rap about, but it's got a syncopation. It's got like sort of a pentameter that is
Hmm.
very complex, and he has like internal rhyme schemes and stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I also like a little bit of Killer Mike stuff with LP as Run the Jewels. I like a little bit of that stuff, and I like Aesop Rock. Lastly, there's an artist called Aesop Rock. I don't think he gets enough props. He makes his own beats. The
I
stuff he
really
used
like him actually.
yeah, the stuff he used to do with Blueprint was super fresh. He's just a really cool guy. And I think people don't give him credit. He actually does abstract rapping. It isn't when you listen to the song 15 times, you've heard it 15 different ways because you've noticed different things in it. It's like so dense with musicality and his words that it's pretty sick.
I
So
didn't know how into music you were.
well, no, I mean everybody wanted to be a rapper when they were 15, right?
I had a lot of dreams, but I don't think that one was on the table. I've never had beat. Igorindick, Igorindick Sorry if I butcher that. I don't know where the break is in your name. Says, hey, Roxy, great stream as always. Question for Ed Greer. Sorry if it breaks the flow of conversation. No, that's the point. You guys are allowed to ask whatever you want. Ed, months ago, I enjoyed your GOAT podcast about Warren Ellis.
Mhm.
How do you handle being a huge fan of someone who then turns out to be a shitty person? Can you, I don't know if I'm asking you an inappropriate question.
Oh, no. That's very appropriate because I have slobbed down Warren Ellis in public a bunch of times. So to find out that, and the thing is, to my recollection, I haven't seen him accused of assaults, but it is kind of that weird, like,
It
you're
was
my
the
girlfriend.
predatory
Yeah,
behavior, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're my girlfriend in Seattle. You're my what's that joke? I'm always frank and earnest with ladies. In Seattle, I'm frank, and in Oklahoma, I'm earnest. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
doing that stuff, and that's whack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because it's like I think we've normalized to a lot of degree, and I'm talking about men, and I'm talking about the people who make media, which is again men. We've normalized this thing of, man, it's true that if you're a successful dude, I'm sorry, dude, you go outside and it's just like just like newspapers in a windstorm, women going, hey, you got good genes, you're tall, probably reasonably handsome because you're on TV or whatever you do. I see you get out of a fresh car. If I'm gonna fall in love with somebody, it might as well be you. And
Right.
so I see that. All right. I see that happen. And it's fine. But we've normalized abusing that. We've normalized being okay with, well, if they're just going to throw it at me, well, so your throw it at you is there. I really thought I gave myself to this person. I really thought we had a connection thing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Using that
Depends on whose
against,
perspective you were in. Yeah.
right, and not caring about that. I mean, he had a partner for like years and years and years. It's one of the things that I worry about myself, having a partner for years and years and years. And we're
Yeah. You
not
guys have been
married.
together forever, right?
Right. So we're not married, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, as far as my, I'm not gonna go to Poughkeepsie and meet up with a busty bartendress after a show. It's just not gonna happen. So I think there's a lot of people where they're just like, no, I earned this. I'm in Poughkeepsie. Love the one you're with. I'm Kevin, busty bartenders throw themselves at me after my shows. I can partake of that because I earned it. There's a big part of men that go through so many years, like being so sad and being like a character out of Big Mouth. You know what I'm saying? Just like so like ugly and weird looking to their minds and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. And then when they get any amount of ability to do what they feel like pretty girls have done, they just go nuts. And Warren Ellis looks like me as an Englishman. He's a big fat bearded weirdo. And to be that attractive to so many people because of something that come out of your brain and to get sexual rewards out of that, that had to feel like an endless feedback loop of wonderfulness. You know what I'm saying, for him? But
Yeah.
you leave a trail of messed up people in your wake. So it's
It's
sad. That's
people
sad.
don't realize how much they're fucking up other people's lives by doing something that feels good to them in the moment. And I'm learning this more and more in my own personal life as I'm getting kind of fucking demoed by people that I've loved who are making choices that are incredibly, incredibly selfish and not thinking about the repercussions, or if they're thinking about it, not actually giving a fuck because it doesn't have to do with them and it won't negatively affect them in the long run. And how fucked up that is because, like you've talked about in terms of energy, like that goes somewhere and it matters who you are as a person and how you treat other people and how they feel treated by you matters. And at some point that bites you in the butt if you haven't been good to people, or at least
Mhm.
I hope so. At least I hope
Well,
so.
I did a recent nerd goat where we talked about Galactus being like, people say that he's not a villain because, well, I just like to eat planets. That's not my fault. I eat planets. And it's just like, no, you are who people think you are because of your impact on them.
Right.
And if you eating planets murders them and everything that they've ever loved, then you are a villain to them. And I think too many people in this country, and I think you know who I'm talking about, have so much power And when they move, they smash buildings. They grab up opportunities out of the lake that no one was using and give them to each other in this natural, sequence of events that helps them. And they don't worry about the giant droplets of water that they're dropping that are smashing people's homes. They're not worried about that. They're not worried about the way that they live and their lifestyle is ruinous to people. They don't care about it because it doesn't affect them. As the person just said about people don't think anything affects anybody until it affects them. And I think that's a sad part about living in this country. We don't realize that so much of our wealth, damn, that it comes from slavery and genocide. Forget that part. It comes from corporations exploiting people to the best they can be. You can't be as rich as Jeff Bezos is with decent business practices.
No,
you can't.
Because if everybody who works for you lives in a beautiful home and is able to very well take care of their family, and then you're still a billionaire, okay. But like, that's not the case with any billionaires. Never are any of all of their employees just like, actually, I'm really set. Doing really well. Because that's not what it looks like. So yeah, I'm completely with you. More things coming in from here though. Hitman Hudson says, OMG, it's the nerd go Ed Greer. I love that.
Really nice.
That's a fact. This is interesting. G. Smith says, we're trying to get the local high school to change the name from Robert E. Lee. The Lost Cause Confederacy is a religion. Yeah, I think right now, changing names, statues, all of these things that feel like they should be no-brainers, people hold on to them, and they're claiming that they're holding on to them because it's part of history, which is like the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. I almost rather people would just say what they mean to say, which is like, I'm a little racist. Like, just kind of like say what you mean to say. Like, I don't want this to leave because I believe in what it stands for. Because, like, I mean, sorry, go ahead. What do you think?
No. I was just thinking, well, I think since they're so obsessed with history, let's have like a big statue of like Imhotep or somebody like that teaching the Greeks things in ancient Africa and Kemet. Yeah. Let's have a big statue of that.
Where's that?
Where's that statue?
Where's the statue?
I'm okay with history. Let's do all the history. You know what I mean? Wait, where's my history? Where's my statue of Shaka Zulu? Where's my statue of Shaka Zulu doing something really bad to his own people? Where's my statue of Hannibal in the middle of Italy? Where's my statue? Well, there is one actually, but anyway, where's my one that has a big wide nose because we know what he looked like in real life?
Mm-hmm.
Where are these statues? We're talking about history. Let's get nuts. You want to get nuts with this history?
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Totally. Where's the statue of Columbus beheading a bunch of people and doing a bunch of assaults? Let's get nuts with these statues. You want to do statues? Let's do statues. Let's get nuts.
We need some creative freedom. Let's go ahead. Glenn Caesar says, Roxy, it's been the same for me since I was a kid, feeling like I felt things deeper than others. And it always felt like I was an alien left here on Earth. I didn't like that about myself either, which is why I started with my meditation teacher to like myself. I know, Glenn, you're on me about the meditation. I know. I
think Glenn's right.
I know. That's the thing. I know. I mean, I'm not. Here's one thing about me. I'm not a dummy. I know he's right. I just don't want to. And I can't figure out how right now. Oh, Grumpy Gene here says, hi, Roxy and Ed. Nerd Goat is my favorite podcast when I'm commuting to work. Thanks for all the fun. I tend to agree that things don't change as much as it should have. We just have more videos now showing all the crap all the time. Love from Sweden. Grumpy, I love that that's your favorite podcast. By the way, I haven't even asked you, Ed. So did you say you're on hiatus right now, or where are you at right now with the show?
We're on hiatus because I got to do some business. I got to see how
meditation.
I'm a meditate about how to get this money. I'm a meditate and think about Scrooge McDuck. Basically, we're just trying to figure out how we're going to expand because we were about to do a Kickstarter and start publishing, but then I kind of looked at some of I kind of looked at the way the show is going, and I was like, well, let me just make sure that I own everything to be able to do like publishing and do movies out of this brand. And if I can't do that, given my present deal, with my company, I might have to rebrand and do some rejiggering. But our Patreon is going strong. Nerd Goat podcast on Patreon, it's going strong, and we're doing a lot more stuff there. So while we're on hiatus thinking about what we're going to do with the main feed, people can jump on the Patreon and pay like $5 and get all these extra pods we're doing. We're doing like 5, 6. We used to do like 2 or 3 a month in addition to the feed. We're doing like 5 or 6, and we're going to start doing videos and stuff. So
what is it? Patreon.com/what?
Nerd Goat.
So the rock stars are like super fucking supportive, and I'm obsessed with you guys. So actually go do that, please. Like for $5 a month, super worth it. Patreon.com/nerdgoat. If you come in here and you say that you did that, I will give you a shout out live on the show. Please go support our friend Ed, especially during this time. Like we need to support each other. But a lot of us artists are struggling, and you want to support the people you want to see continue to work. So definitely please do that. And again, if you do that or you already support Ed, let me know, and I'll give you a shout out live here. Continuing with the very important questions that we are asking here on today's show, Ed, Maddie B says, construct for me the perfect sandwich. Very important.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is the thing. Me personally, I like a spongy bread. Not spongy like a cake or anything, but like a brioche. Any type of brioche.
You threw me off with spongy at first.
No, not like spongy. Like no. But like just some sort of a ciabatta. Not a ciabatta, but a brioche. Brioche-esque, like buttery, bunny sort of bread. Not ciabatta because I don't like the texture. And it's Nerdgoat patreon.com/nerdgoat podcast.
So, Nerdgoat podcast, not just Nerdgoat.
Yeah, Nerdgoat.
All right,
podcast.
Jake, throw up a new one then.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Charles Clark, who's already a patron.
Thank you
awesome.
so much. Yes, thank you so much. So basically, so you take some brioche, you put a thin amount of whatever sort of spread you want. I don't like to inundate my sandwiches, but I can't eat them dry. I'm not a weirdo.
What are we talking about? Like, are you talking about a mayo spread, or are you talking about like a sunflower or like a tomato?
The mayo
sunflower. What the fuck is that?
The mayo or aioli of your choice.
Okay.
And to me personally, I don't want to get into details about what sort of meats and stuff, because like some meats you like might sound delectable to you, it might sound horrible to me. But whatever meats or cheeses or whatever you put on there, you have to be cognizant of the fricative elements. Right?
Okay, interesting.
You have to layer your sandwich properly to where the things that are slimy are next to things that are coarse.
Yeah, nobody wants a slip and slide sandwich.
Nobody likes that. So like, I don't care whatever type of sandwich you want. Get a nice bread that can, like, if lightly toasted, can hold whatever aiolis, whatever oils you want to put on it to give it a little lubrication. But do not lube it up so much that it spazzes out.
No, and honestly, that's advice for life. Don't lube anything up so much that it spazzes out. Just in life. Dude, nobody likes that.
And also, what I don't like is when people make a sopping lettuce on their sandwich, or they make their sandwich too soon and like put it away, and then by the time you get it, the lettuce is like, oh my god! Yeah, I hate that.
You need a crunch. You need a little bit of a crunch in there.
I can't have somebody deliver me a sandwich.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I can't do it if it has any sort of lettuce things on it. I can't do it.
I hear you on that. I don't like delivery seafood. It kind of freaks me out. How long has this been in your car? Like, just like, and that happens with sushi sometimes too. Just, how long has this salmon been out? Just kind of free. And right now in LA, it's 90 degrees and you Postmates, I know I'm the 4th person on your trip. Like, and it's taking you 90 minutes to get here. Nope. So I have specific things like that too. Can't have delivery. All right. More things coming in. So Weston Ira always has some long-winded questions that need some deciphering. So we will decipher this together. Weston says, I've never heard of #Roxadeer. So I guess that's our ship name. Okay. But I'm happy to check this duo out on the replay this time. Sorry for this being long. 1 minute I'm reading about the recent story of the U.S. seizing tons of hair weave made by prisoners of a Chinese labor camp that's aimed at Muslims. Yes, there's actually a labor camp in 2020. The next minute, I'm reading about a woman who was shot 4 times after she snatched a Nazi flag from a neighbor's yard. She's expected to survive, which is great because she's a hero, in my opinion. But my question is, long term, what do you think the world needs to grow beyond these ridiculous situations? Hashtag BLM. So, Ed, we've talked about this a little bit, but anything that you feel like when he's saying, what do you feel the world needs to grow? Is there anything you feel like is there an answer to that question at all?
Well, I used to, when I was a kid, I thought that it was the Ozymandias thing. I really thought it was Ozymandias. I thought you would do some weird plan like that old Twilight Zone that Alan Moore based his Watchmen story on, which is hoax the world into thinking that there's aliens so that we all unite against these aliens. And then the Watchmen TV show came out this year, and it was like, no, they totally agree that a giant squid came from outer space to try to destroy the world. But I still don't like y'all. I still don't like you get reparations. I still don't like this. And it was like, wow, that's totally true. If there was damn aliens, we would find a way to fracture ourselves, even as we fought against or tried to join, in a more hopeful, sense, aliens. If aliens came and told us we could go out to outer space, we'd be arguing with each other. Well, how come they took 3 of those type of people to outer space?
Right.
What's up with this? There must be some sort of a conspiracy theory as to why I didn't get to go to space. There's always going to be something, it seems like.
All right. Well, the hope stays alive, guys.
Well,
Charles,
again,
I know.
Progress is good. Nobody's discounting progress. You have to keep making it. You have to keep. What is it? You keep pounding the rock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You pound the rock 1,000 times, and on the 1,001st try, it bursts open. But we pretend that we've pounded the rock 1,000 times, and actually we've hit it like 6 times, and thought it was broken. That's all I'm saying. We got to pound the rock thousands of times.
We have a lot more times to pound. Let's take. Well, I heard it. Okay. Charles Clark says, you guys both rock. I love that you guys can talk nerd stuff and sports stuff, especially that fictional character NFL draft. How cool was that?
That was great.
I want to know, what athletes would you put on your Avengers or Justice League teams? Any sport. Okay, any sport. Well, we kind of did this a little bit for the NFL. For a different sport, I don't know. Should we just pick like a starting lineup for a basketball team or something?
Well, I think it's interesting how like you see some of these. What thing that was great about that video was we did these archetypes. Like Captain America would make a good quarterback, or this guy could make a good quarterback because they look the part. They do this, they do that. I think in basketball, it's so much more like super heroics, really, because there's only 5 people on the court,
right?
And they all have such giant influence. It's like they're being basically really 5 important Avengers or so, and they do all this dope stuff, and they're very important.
Yeah, but definitely for basketball, like some things that are not as important in football, like we need major height on our team. Like we're gonna need elongated man for sure. Like we're gonna need some like stretchy people who can like. I mean, what's the name of the green guy who is a cartoon? Gumby, whatever his name was. That like he like to flow like that. I mean, we need some people like that. Was that his name? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, there's a Gumby. He was a stretchy little green guy. And there's like Stretch Armstrong, and there's like, I would say, I would want to have Reed Richards on the team because
Elastigirl.
Yeah. Let's go with Elastigirl. I like her. She's because she really knows how to stretch.
Yeah,
like,
no,
she's got a great shot blocker. She would steal the ball pretty good by just like reaching hella far. Like she's so far out away from you that you think you're okay to dribble, and then her arm comes from out of nowhere and wimps around and steals the ball. Yeah,
we're getting a lot of Hawkeye suggestions in the chat. Doctor Strange. No, I don't want Doctor Strange on my team. Yeah, I have a thing against Doctor Strange. I don't want him on my team. He's not invited to be on my team. That's just how it goes. No.
If he messed up, you throw the ball at him and it hits his fingers, and he's like, "Ow, my hand!"
Yeah, he's annoying. Flash. Yeah, obviously we want him. Quicksilver.
You know who I would have coming off the bench? He's an utter psychopath, but he almost never misses. Bullseye.
Yeah. Great.
Just give the ball and get out of his way. Don't try to tell him to pass you the ball. He will throw it and kill you. So
as long as he's on your team, then you're all set. Great question. By the way, Charles Clark, really appreciate your support. And everybody who's in here today, you guys are awesome. Another question coming in from Glenn Caesar, who says, it's great to have you live at the Roxy, Ed. Thanks for joining Roxy and virtually hanging out with us today. Here's my question. who are your top 3 comedians, or if it's easier to answer, your top 3 favorite comedy specials because they've made you laugh so much or lifted your spirits or helped you pass the time.
I like it's funny. Obviously I like the greats. There are people who we did that question about Warren Ellis, right? Earlier. Comedians are so problematic. I'm not going to talk about the major ones, but comedians themselves,
Yeah.
just by the nature of what they do. And I know you talk about off the field, I'm talking about on the field. They're just problematic. They end up saying things that push people's buttons, and maybe sometimes they are like Lenny Bruce, where later in the future you see that they weren't really being obscene. They were just sort of bringing out a truth. And then sometimes you go in the future and you go, wow, they really shouldn't have said those words in that amount of times and in that milieu in that way. You know what I mean? So like along those lines, everybody, I just hate to apologize for the rudeness of comedy, because I think that's kind of the point. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
hear you completely.
Most of the great comics are pretty rude because they're not respecting your little punk ass boundaries about X, Y, and Z. And they're really trying to shock people into thinking about certain subjects. So
And
along those
change and all that.
along those lines, I love George Carlin. I think you could pick from most of his specials. I personally like I think it's Jammin' in Jersey or Jammin' in New York. It's one of those, Jammin' somewhere, and it's really good. It's got really great bits and stuff that I never would want to see enacted in real life, but they're really funny. And I think that's kind of, I think comedy should go back to being an escape. I understand that everybody wants to speak truth to power. I do that in my own comedy. But at the same time, I think we need to respect jokes and respect the kill. But anyway, a lot of times people use jokes as microaggressions, so I understand people not respecting that.
It's complicated.
I like
Sure.
Patrice O'Neill. I think most of what he said was really awesome, and I think he was a really smart guy. I think he got branded as a misogynist, and I think he would tell you he was a misogynist. So he definitely said some problematic stuff about women. At the same time, there was a lot of women who thought that he was correct, but maybe just being rejected out of,
I've never
because,
heard somebody self-identify as a misogynist. That would be interesting.
well, I think he was just one of those guys where he had some formative events that kind of made him, think of women a certain way, and he brought that to the stage. But again, I think he actually tried to therapize it, and instead of just
Work
being
through
like,
it.
yeah, instead of not examining his irrational like fears and stuff of certain aspects of women, he attacked it. And I think that was very brave. And unfortunately, he's not here anymore. And so yeah, those are a couple of my favorite comics. I really liked Doug Stanhope. Of recent, he has been a little bit kind of, I don't know. It seems like he's kind of acting like the type of dude who just, I live in the middle of the desert. I don't really care about politics and stuff. You know what I mean? It's he's a little bit divorced
Out of
from.
touch.
It seems like he's just slipping a little bit in, but he's also being a little bit more progressive than he used to be.
Hmm.
So it's a weird thing of like being sort of a divorce from stuff, but also kind of trying to get on the right side of history. But like, I don't know. But I like the classic Doug Stanhope stuff, like No Refunds and Deadbeat Hero. I just think he's a really thought provoking comedian, and that's what I asked for my comics.
Okay. Those are some good ones. Ben Rayner says Robot Man Cliff as tight end. We're going back. All right.
I mean, he can't be stopped. He will keep running.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick. It's not a
But I don't
bad
know if
pick.
he's got good hands. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like, can Robot
No,
Man, does he have very much dexterity?
I don't
Tight end,
know.
catch. I'd maybe make him a fullback or something.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Hitman Hudson says, I want to say that I'm a white dude. I have worn women's clothes in public for maybe 5 hours total in my life. And the only time that I've ever been stopped by the police in my life was when I was wearing a dress at night on my way to pick up a pizza. Thank you for sharing that, Hitman Hudson. And I think that that's probably a common experience for people who are trans or even cross-dressing or whatever. I think that that's probably common. Police officers stop people for being different or for horrible reasons all the time. But thank you for sharing. Also, I did want to make sure because we don't have that much longer. Do I have you for 15 more minutes, Ed? Or are we good
Oh
for
yeah, yeah.
15 more?
Handle your business.
I
I
wanted
made a nice block of time for you, Roxy.
Thanks. I appreciate it because I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the news stuff that's going
Mhm.
on. So, Ghislaine Maxwell, I want to talk about this for anybody who doesn't know, just filling you guys in because I didn't know much about the Jeffrey Epstein case. I knew probably as much as most people had known based on casually watching the news and knowing he was a piece of shit, but not knowing the full details of everything. I watched Jeffrey Epstein Filthy Rich, which is maybe the fifth or sixth time I've watched a Netflix docu-series or documentary that's really seemingly brought change to a situation that's happened, making a murderer, Tiger King. Like, it seems like if you get a Netflix doc, you actually might be able to change what happened in what was so unjust about the thing that they're making the doc about, which is kind of crazy and interesting. But
Mhm.
anyway, one of the main takeaways that they kept putting up on the screen during Jeffrey Epstein Filthy Rich was they kept reminding us Ghislaine Maxwell is still a free woman. She's not been arrested. She's not been tried. She is still wherever she was, on an island in New York, traveling millions and millions, like living her filthy rich life. And this is a woman who, in case you do not know, for you guys at home, if you haven't seen this, was involved in seemingly like 90% this was Jeffrey Epstein's partner. So like romantic partner, they went everywhere together, life partner, and she would go into what they call in what is it? Where is it in Florida? Whatever it is, the over the bridge to the other side of the bridge, which is the obviously not affluent area. They would
Mhm.
find women who needed love, money, a place to stay, whatever. She would make all these promises. She would bring them back to Jeffrey Epstein's. He would rape them. He would throw money at them, and they became child prostitutes. It like she was the biggest nightmare. She would be in the room. She also sexually assaulted many of the women, and was like had her hand in every situation. She would fly these women to private islands. And then once they were there, if they wanted to leave, she would steal their passports. She would lock them in rooms. She would like what they called groom her for groom
Mm.
kids, underage kids. Some of them were of age, but most of them were underage. This woman is a flaming piece of fucking shit. And I don't
Mm.
say that about most people. And I especially try not to say that about women. This woman is clearly in the documentary. You don't see one, two, three, four, I mean, 30, 40, and they say there are hundreds of women that Ghislaine Maxwell coerced or tricked into being raped by Jeffrey Epstein. Like, she is fucking terrible. And she was finally arrested today by the FBI. There's a lot of theories going on about why or how this happened. And there's also a lot of questions because in the doc, one of the women claims that she was, and I hope claims comes off the way I mean it. One of the women explains how she was raped by Prince Andrew, and another one of the with Jeffrey Epstein there. Another one of the women talks about how Trump was there. Another one of the women talks about how Bill Clinton was there on the
Mhm.
island. And so people know that Jeffrey Epstein died under very unusual circumstances. He was in prison. He was killed. None of the video cameras worked. There have been theories. Did the Clintons do it? Did the Trumps do it? Was he whacked? What happened? Because it was deemed a suicide. And now Ghislaine Maxwell, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but just trying to explain to anybody who doesn't know. Now Ghislaine Maxwell being arrested, people don't think she's going to make it a week. Like, they don't think she's going to get there. I'm really hoping for these survivors' sakes that she does go to trial and she is fucking found guilty and she spends the rest of her life in prison and that they get at least that little bit of justice. I also hope that if she's cutting some kind of a deal or whatever the fuck it is, that she outs every single motherfucker that is wealthy, if whoever it is, no matter what side you're on, if it's Bill Clinton or if it's Donald Trump, if it's Prince Andrew, like whoever it is, that we know who was doing this. So a lot going on here. And Ed, I just threw a lot your way. But what do you think about the fact that she's been arrested? Do you think that there is going to be a hit job? What are your thoughts? Hard question, I know.
No, no. I mean, I think it's one of those things where a lot of the so-called conspiracy theorist persons I know are of European descent, let's say. The ones that I know are that, because the people of African descent like myself don't consider ourselves conspiracy theorists at all when we say that certain government agencies work against the will of the people, that
Right,
certain
because you know it to be fact. It's not a conspiracy when
right,
it's true. Yeah.
it's not a conspiracy. So I think the Epstein thing is a way that, frankly, people of many other ethnicities and descents are finally seeing that it's almost impossible to be a great person when you know that you can't be prosecuted for any crime that you do. It is
Right.
almost impossible to be a great person when you have so much money that you can pay for whatever malfeasance you do. You may not be a person who flies to sex islands, but you may be a person who does a continuous thing in your environment that ruins things for other people, and you don't care because you could buy your way out of it. You can buy your way to having your house zoned in a certain way to where the hill falls on your neighbor and nobody really cares. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying,
Yes.
from stuff like that all the way up to sex islands, when you look at economic largesse, it brings out the worst in a lot of people, especially people who have had so much power for so long that they feel as though they can't get busted by anybody because who's going to bust you? It's like a John Wick situation. You call the cops and they come and they go, "Oh yeah, well you working again, Mister Wick? Here's a gold coin." You know what I mean? And it's so
But
funny how
literally,
yeah.
because we see it in the doc too. Like he's taken to trial multiple times, and they said that in one of the cases there was 30 women ready to testify against him, and they said because he had given them money and it wasn't considered rape, instead it was considered prostitution, that they couldn't testify in their own case and threw it out.
Well, again, though,
What?
we we think that laws are absolute things of right, I guess, handed down from like some Old Testament God written on like parchment paper or rocks or something. That's what we think laws are these days.
Yeah,
That's stupid. We
that's
know
stupid.
that laws are, hey, buddy, I want to have a sex island and I don't want to pay taxes on it. So how about you slip this into the crime bill that, it's not a crime to have a sex island and I get a $500 million tax break, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's laws. Okay. Stop it with this. Laws are from some moral power or no. Laws are designed to protect rich people's interests. And it is very rare that a law gets passed that doesn't implicitly or explicitly defend rich people's interests. So the last thing I'll say about all that is the woman aspect of it. People really, I'm sorry, bro, I'm about to bust it down. I really hate this concept that if certain women were in charge, things would be so much better. No, they wouldn't. Because you see this lady right here who bought into this weird garbage person collective and was an equal participant in this weird garbage person collective. Her femininity, her vulnerability did not factor into that because she felt as though she had transcended that. It's like the I'm not black, I'm OJ type stuff. There are people who will work against their own interest and their own people's interest because they feel as though they're immune to that because they're so rich and because they're so privileged to be inside the cool kids table. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah, but you don't
yeah.
mean that you don't think any women should be in charge
Oh
because
no. I'm just saying this concept that
that like it,
all we got
yeah,
to do, all we got to
just
do is
get
put ladies
yeah.
in charge. All we got to do.
No, it needs to be the right people. The right
No.
people.
Yeah, you still
Yeah.
have to, because all the idiots who say all you got to do is put men in charge. We've seen what that's gotten us.
Yeah.
All
No,
you got
I'm
to do is put men
completely
in
with you.
charge. Doesn't work at all.
You have to put the right people in charge. And this is why, like, to me, what Jeffrey Epstein did was egregious, and maybe this is a mean comment, and I don't know. What Ghislaine Maxwell did to me is almost more egregious because, like, Jeffrey Epstein is a entitled, white, privileged man who had like, not one worry in the world. And would have no idea what it would be like to be taken advantage of. Like any woman on the planet knows what it's like to be taken advantage of. So for you to then do that to other women, fuck you. Like women, to borrow a page. So fine, if we call things blank on blank crime, fine. Women on women crime is fucking bullshit. Like It's like, oh God, hearing her, I fucking hate this person. Anyway,
Mhm.
let's move forward because she's been arrested. We'll see what happens.
Mhm.
Good things. So we have fuck yeah news on the show always. In fuck
Yeah.
yeah news, Kobe Bryant being the cover athlete for NBA 2K. Are you do you play at all?
If I turn this TV on behind me, it would have the saved game of NBA 2K on it.
Amazing.
I'm a 2K person. As a big fat person who can't dunk, it is the best thing to being like Jake Sully in the Avatar simulator or whatever. I'm just running around dunking and jumping and having a great time and doing all these things I can't physically do with my own body. And I think that's how I meditate. I have found myself 20 points up on the hardest level playing the hardest team in that game. And I haven't been thinking about the game and I haven't seen the score the whole time I'm balling like that. But I'm just doing these chess moves in my head. They're falling like Tetris. It's like limitless and all this stuff is happening. And I'm thinking about my life. I'm thinking about all this kind of stuff. And next thing you know, I'm 20 points up and I haven't thought about the game at all. And
Yeah,
I haven't looked
yeah.
at the score at all. That I find myself in flow state when I'm drawing, when I'm playing 2K, and sometimes
Oh, I've
on
seen a lot of
podcasts.
your drawings. You're really good. And even like when you're sitting there and you just kind of sketch us at the table because you're always, whenever we're sitting at the SJ table, you're always doodling.
Yeah, yeah,
Weird.
yeah. I'm trying to do my own comics, but like I said earlier, I got to make sure that I make sure that these fools don't say that I designed my algorithm on a Hooli computer, if you know what I'm saying. You
Yeah,
know,
I do.
I want to get my stuff, mine.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. All right. Also, other news: Brie Larson starting a YouTube channel. She released one video so far. It was basically her saying she was starting a YouTube channel, saying she was going to talk about like injustices, and that was kind of what the video was. And she said she started talking to random YouTubers and her mom and her best friend and whatever it was. None of this is shade. I'm just trying to recount what happened as
Mhm.
my brain is processing it. And she was like, doesn't every woman wake up and is 30 and is like, what should I do today? Start a YouTube channel. So it seems like she just kind of wanted to. We also have seen this happen before with mega stars. It's not new that a huge celebrity, Will Smith, has a banging YouTube channel that he does crazy stuff on as well. What do you think about this? Are you excited Brie Larson has a YouTube channel? Do you wish that she would leave the YouTubing to the YouTubers so that we would have a chance? Thoughts?
I mean, look, again, when I said that stuff about certain people thinking that everything is a scheme against them already, I'm a comedian. As a comedian, since I started, there have been rock drummers, MMA dudes,
Yeah.
former people in the Village People or
Oh
whatever
my
you
god.
could think of. They come up with their sailor suit from whatever they did before and go, now I'm a comedian. And they can sell out the place because they're super famous, or they're famous in another field. If I can't even, if Samuel L. Jackson wanted to be a comedian tomorrow, he'd be one of the biggest ones in the country because he would sell out clubs instantly, no matter if he was funny or not.
Yeah.
So all that to say, I was born to this world of your particular talent ain't nothing if somebody rich and famous wants to do it. Now,
Yeah.
if we're going to talk about in a negative fashion, I've been in that, so that doesn't even affect me. I think though, people like her and Krasinski you can't take their freedom of expression away though, just because they have all these resources. Like, man, the Will Smith, I like Will Smith, but I know people who straight up write Will Smith's videos. So like a team of people make Will Smith look like the coolest person on Instagram.
Right, right.
A team of people. So that's different than you talking about your top 10 cameras I want to buy to shoot YouTube videos. This is the best. All these people who are doing that are getting murdered by people like Will Smith or Brie Larson or John Krasinski. So it's not the same sport. You're not in a competition with them. They're going to succeed because they're famous. You have to worry about yourself. And I know that's what you're doing, and that's what I'm going to
Yeah.
do. I'm starting my own YouTube channel, and probably the worst climate ever. Because to me, it's going to be a piece of my art. I'm going to do like draw alongs. I'm going to do like
Oh my god, when are you doing this? I didn't know.
yeah, I'm doing all the videos right now. I want to have like 2 months of video so I could drop hella consistently. So
Awesome.
it's gonna be called Ed Greer Destroys, and it's gonna have like sometimes I'm gonna
YouTube.com/Ed Greer Destroys.
yep, and
Cool.
I'm gonna do just like certain rants and stuff, but also do a little bit of 2K footage and do some like little movies I've made on 2K footage and stuff for like some of the people who like that sort of stuff and rant about stuff. But it's gonna
Mhm.
be a personality channel, but bottom line, it's not gonna be some niche I'm a dork all the time on it channel. It's gonna be like, look, you like me. This is my thoughts on ballerinas. I think these are my top 10 favorite ballerinas. You didn't even know I knew 10 of them. So let's do it. You
I
know,
don't know 10 for sure.
I'll get weird on the channel. It'll be my freedom to do that. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So like let her live her life and do her videos. But if they got a bunch of special effects in them, I think that's gonna rub rub people the wrong way. She
I
got like
know.
Captain Marvel effects in her YouTube video.
I know. I'm actually kind of happy about it because I do think that, like, if you want to use your voice for good, then
Mhm.
you can as a celebrity, and a lot of them don't. So the fact that she wants to do this and wants to talk about things and has the eyes and ears, I'm happy to see it. And also, I think that, everybody thinks that once you make it big, you're making all your own choices in your life. But really, she's probably got a whole team behind her, and she's paying a publicist. And she, anytime she wants to make an appearance or make a statement, she's got to go through all these hoops. She knows she's big enough that she could just make a YouTube channel, and whatever something's important, she can come on and talk about it. So I'm glad to see that. Is it a massive step? No, but is it a little thing? Yeah, and
Mhm.
I like her a lot, so I'll be excited to watch her grow. Also, speaking of people I like a lot, Jada Pinkett Smith. This story, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, how she, the open marriage and what's going on here. And August saying
Mhm.
that he had an affair with her and was in love with her, and it was many years. And then her reps saying that that never happened. And then Jada Pinkett Smith today tweeted saying, like, wait, I actually want to get what the exact tweet was, because it was a little interesting, especially after her reps had said nothing had taken place. She said 3 hours ago, there's some healing that needs to happen, dot, dot, dot. So I'm bringing myself to the red table, which, like, is the most dramatic tweet I've ever read, but it's kind of amazing. There's not much to say about this yet because she hasn't brought herself to the red table yet. But once she does, we will talk about it. Uh, what do you think are the chances, Ed, that she's bringing herself to the red table to like explain her and Will's marriage status?
I,
Don't even know.
it's one of these things where it's almost like weird that we're talking about this after talking about the Warren Ellis thing, because if he had an open relationship with his girlfriend and he was able to tell women that, hey, I am Warren Ellis. I write really cool comics about, the Authority and Planetary and stuff like that. So now look, love, I have a wife at home, but I'm gonna have you tonight, blah blah blah. That it wouldn't have been such a big ass deal. So
Yeah.
if Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith have that, and it's finally proven to be a real thing, I think that would be one of those weird discoveries for our generation of like fans, because I've heard that for years.
Yeah,
Haven't you? I've heard
of
that for
course.
years, that
But
they're
do
so
you think
famous
that
and
that
beautiful that they
would that affect, though, like, the books, the gigs they book, and, like, the roles, and we don't know.
I literally don't know. And that's why I think people are excited. And also I think I wouldn't put it past this to be promotion. I mean, if this guy who was the singer or whatever, if he happens to drop some new music,
He did,
recently.
and that's exactly what happened.
Oh, well, see, you know what? Sometimes I think I'm stupid,
He
and
dropped new
sometimes I think
music,
I'm
like, the
smart.
26th, and then came out, like, 3 days later with this. It was like,
I didn't even know that, but there you go. There you
yeah.
go.
There you fricking go. Well, I'll definitely check it out and keep you guys posted on what she's bringing herself to the table for.
No, buddy.
Last Streamlabs in here, Glenn Caesar said, thanks for giving us a great show today, Roxy and Ed. This was super fun. 2 thumbs up. Y'all are the best. Keep killing it. Roxy, don't mean to nag you about meditation. Uh, you're not. Here's my last question for Ed. If you could control an element, water, air, fire, earth, which would it be?
Wow, that is a
It's
good
giving you a
one.
lot of power.
Yeah, I know. Personally, I think it might have to be water, just because there's so much water. I understand there's so much. I understand there's so much
There's
air.
so much air. Yeah.
I understand there's so much air, but like maybe because air is so ephemeral, it might take me and my superhero powers more to like make it do something to you. It might take more concentration for me to make a hurricane. Just because you have wind powers doesn't mean you can just because you have air powers doesn't mean you can make wind. Maybe wind making is some sort of thing, whereas water is everywhere. Water's in your body. I have a fight with some guy, and he's beating me up, and I remember that he's 90 something percent water, and just do some weird stuff to his body, make his organs stop working and stuff, and kick the crap out of him. I can let's say I'm one of these people that can control a lot of water. I can bring it out of the pipes. I can bust it out of the I'm in a fight in the street. I can make the fire hydrant explode and blast you away from me.
You've thought about this. You have thought
I
about
just thought about it just now. I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking Earth is good, but like let's say I'm in the middle of the ocean. What am I going to do? Call sand from up from the bottom of the ocean?
Yes.
But if I have water power, I can do
That's
stuff
exactly
in the
what you
water.
would do.
I know that's a long way. What if my powers don't work? That I pull.
Why are you in the middle of the ocean?
Because I have water power. So that's why I would. And that's another thing. I think the ocean is so scary to me to have utter mastery over it to the point where I could be in the ocean and then a shark comes up to me and I'm just like, hey, guess what? You're in Tahiti because I made a giant wave, or I made some funnel to suck you away from somewhere, but it didn't suck me down because I can control the water particles.
So that's the real talk on it. It's about fear and being able to control the thing we're afraid of, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Ed, we are getting out of here, but please, can you tell everybody? I know you talked a little bit about where you're going to be on YouTube and also your podcast, but can you tell them all the things one more time, all the places they can go support you, all the things they can find?
Well, they could just get constant updates on what I'm doing if they check out nerdgoatpodcast.com. Again, like I said, we're trying to see if we're going to keep that or rebrand. But what right there, you can see our whole catalog. You can listen to all of the Nerd Goats we've ever done. We've done 150 episodes. You can listen to all those and check me out, get a flavor for it. You can also check out the Patreon, Nerd Goat podcast. There you go, on Patreon. It's a great way to support us while we're figuring out what we do with the main feed. And at Ed Greer Destroys on Twitter and Instagram. I'm going to start uploading a lot more art on Instagram because I'm going to do art for the Instagram and do Patreon exclusive art.
That's
so
amazing.
I'm just gonna make so much of it that I can put the really super dope stuff on the Patreon, but the super dope stuff on the regular feed. Just everybody gets dope stuff.
Super dope.
Yeah, people get dope stuff from me all around because this time is really good for me to like sit my ass down and think about what I want to do with my life. And I really want to be a comic book artist. I really want to get my ideas for screenplays up on their feet as graphic novels and stuff. It's really the path that I'm going in. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Ed Greer Destroys, the YouTube channel is coming soon. But like I said, I want to be consistent with my content. I don't want to be one of those people who makes a channel and make one video and then they just go, "Yep, done." I want to have a bunch of good videos to drop. Very in rapid succession, so people know that I'm a real channel.
I believe in putting out what you want into the universe. I might not be good at meditation, but I do believe in you saying out loud what it is you want to do and the universe hearing that, especially because I think you're fucking awesome and so talented. So I can't wait to continue watching your artwork. I think we are being joined right now by Schmodown Entertainment Network, very likely Christian Harloff in the house. When is the Greer debut in Schmodown going to happen? Ooh, pinning you down and making you ask before we get out of here. What's the answer?
I talked to my manager on the team about like a lot of the stuff that I have going and how it might preclude me from making that debut anytime soon. So I think you talk to my manager and we'll see if there might be a special.
Talk to my manager.
I would just say talk to my manager and we'll see if we can do some sort of SummerSlam or something, some sort of special event I could jump on. But I don't think I'll be available for most things. So
are you any good?
At Schmodown? Yeah. If there's certain categories where I'm good, I'm excellent. But I'm just like I'm like a water-based power character in outer space. There might not be enough moisture up there for me to do my thing. I'm not really. My girl is way more the trivia person. Clee Wiggins is gonna whoop some ass on her appearances. So I think she's the Schmodown powerhouse in the family. And I have.
You ever thought about trying to be on a team with her, trying to team up?
I think they tried to trade for me, but I was too valuable a piece.
Whoa.
So, so like I said, it's just one of those things where, just call me one of those great players that you stashed in Europe. You're trying to get him to come over and play
You
for the
can't just
NBA.
claim you're great, though. You have to be great.
No, hey, but that's the thing. Maybe I suck, but you're gonna have to do some stuff to get me to break my contract with Europe to come over and play. That's all I'm saying. So it's one of those things.
Feels like you're
You
playing
never
hard
know.
to get. I'm not mad at
Yeah.
it, though.
No, I'm honestly just trying to be. I'm trying to be too busy for a lot of things. I'm very glad to make time for you. I'm very glad to make time to like do all this damn drawing and writing and graphic noveling and submitting for. I submitted for SNL. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing
No
a
way.
lot of So
What
I'm
was that?
doing a lot of
I know
stuff
we're getting out
for
of here,
as
but what was that submission process? What do you mean?
they make you do a few sketches between 3 and 5, and one of them has to be topical slash political. One of them has to be a commercial parody, and the other ones could be just whatever you want, like live sketches, live to tape sketches. So it's just like so many things are happening. I'm not going to say so many things are happening for me right now because it's not really like that. But
Touche.
but so many things. I'm pretty busy, and so I'm just trying to like revel in the fact that I'm finally pretty busy, while it seems like everybody else is not busy, and I just want to make the best of this time. So, but yeah, I'm not ruling it out at all. Not ruling out it at all. I'm not saying I'm too great for it.
Well, I love you making the time for me. So thank you for being here. I believe at some point we will see your Schmodown debut. But what we know for fact is that we can follow you at Ed Greer Destroys. We can check out your artwork, follow your Patreon, check out your website, all of that great stuff. There's plenty of ways to show support to Ed Greer. Everybody, round of applause for our amazing guest today. Thank you, Ed, for joining us.
Thank you, Roxy.
Tomorrow, yeah, of course. Tomorrow we'll be back live at the Roxy at 2:30 because I do DC movie news prior. So check that out. Then check out Live at the Roxy at 2:30. And as a heads up, I know I have not gone dark for all of quarantine. I'm going to continue not doing that. But Saturday, I do think I'm going to go up at an earlier time. I'll keep you guys posted, but like I kind of want to get drunk. Literally, that's the reason. I'm just being full blown honest with you guys. I have not had a day where I got to do a little daydream for a while. So no, am I celebrating America? Not really, but is it a good day to like maybe be outside and have a couple of beers? Possibly. So I might be going up a little early. I'll keep you guys posted. I don't like to lie and pretend like because I have work that day. No, I think I would like to get a little tipsy. So just letting you guys know. Please leave a comment on this video afterwards. It really helps with the algorithms. Give a thumbs up. Follow Ed everywhere. And I love you guys a lot. Stay safe. Keep fighting. And we'll see you live at the Roxy tomorrow.